Good morning. That was Locust by Machine Head, and you are listening to KUIW Cardinal Radio Station, San Antonio, Texas. It is 10:40, and welcome to our show. We are going to be broadcasting for the next 2 hours, maybe. I don't know, less than that.
On there.
Okay. Your host is myself, David,
Ronald Mercado.
And Alejandro Jimenez.
and again, our show is called Film Noobs. What we will be covering is pretty much the film industry and independent film. Ronald?
I'm Ronald. I am a UIW student, and I work on independent films here in San Antonio. Me and David actually just put out a movie called Low Riders vs. Zombies in Space, but I also work with different little independent companies in San Antonio and Austin and Kyle and so forth. Working on several films. I'm an actor by trade, but I'm also an assistant director. I've done stunts, stunt director, lighting, G&E, camera, done everything as far as films go, and that pretty much entails what independent films are like in San Antonio and the local area.
All right, AJ.
I'm AJ. I'm kind of fairly new to the film industry. I just started getting work this year. Most of the time I work as a boom operator and sound mixer. Also, I'm in school trying to learn screenwriting, and that's kind of where I want to go forward after I graduate.
All right, my name's David, of course. I said that. I've been in the industry for about 2 years, student, senior, three years, roughly. Well, we're going on our 3 years. Like Ronald said, re-interject that. We just finished a movie called Low Riders vs. Zombies from Space. It's done good. It's on DVD and Amazon now. Started off on audio, and it's pretty much, I've progressed into directing and producing and other stuffs. As most independent guys do, we kind of dabble in everything, and that's one of the things that we want to talk to y'all about, as well as talk about just major independent films, stuff that comes out in Amazon that most people don't see, the little diamonds in the rough, as well as we wanted to cater to our October family, which is all the Halloween heads out there that love horror.
Yeah.
That's one of our favorite genres as well.
If you want to see the Low Riders vs. Zombies movie, it's actually on Amazon, but you can look us up on Silent Flight Media. That's a production company, so Silent Flight Media on Facebook, and you'll find all the movies we're actually working on. We're working on a couple of the independent films here in San Antonio, Wolfsbane and Texas Tales of Terror here in the San Antonio area. But yeah, we love independent films. We love everything about it. We've watched pretty much everything that's on Amazon and Netflix and everything. Time there's a new movie out there where we're geeking out and talking to each other, and we just wanted to share our experiences on watching those little diamonds out there that kind of freak us out. And since it's Halloween, let's just throw some horror movies out there that we've seen and have seen lately and we really enjoy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the big one that is coming out is the remake, or not the remake, but the sequel, I guess, to Halloween. I guess it is a technical sequel, right? Because it is taking place after the original Halloween.
Yeah. It's supposed to take right after Halloween 1.
It's supposed to be like 4 years later, right?
Yes.
So that's
Was
going
it
to be
4? That was.
Well, no, it's more than that. It's
like
more
10 years later or something like that, I think. Yeah, he's in jail.
Yeah, he's been in a psychiatric hospital and she's been waiting.
Yeah, all the time. I liked the trailer because it really played on the whole, waiting game.
Mm.
And again, a lot of us are big Halloween horror fans, and to actually see Jamie Lee Curtis back in the role of, Halloween, that's one of the biggest things. Because once he started redoing all the other ones, and they kind of put her aside, it wasn't until, I think, what was it, H2O?
H2O, yeah.
That she came
H2O,
back.
Yeah.
But then that was a new timeline. And that's one of the other things that if you're not careful, there's like 4 or 5 timelines you got to follow.
Then, is it? No, then it's like because then they get all weird with the timelines. Some things happen, some things didn't happen. There's a timeline where she dies. There's a timeline where she lived.
Yeah.
There's and then
Then you had the Rob Zombie one that was
Oh,
way
yeah.
outside of Left Park, but it's still pretty good. I like Rob Zombie's little. I like the way he does his movies. The way he does the cinematic stuff he does is amazing. Like House of Thousand Corpses, that whole scene with the fire, the Ring of Fire, all them standing around. That's a beautiful scene. But he does stuff like that. I really enjoy his point of view of looking at things.
But you also got to think, I mean, when we talk about Rob Zombie, and we're talking about independent film also, because he is an independent filmmaker, he's outside of the major mainstream. When we talk about him and how he does things cinematically, it's very artistic.
But dirty.
Yeah, but dirty. And it's still grimy and dirty and gritty. And that's one of the things that we all love about it. And again, it goes back into the horror genre. And I think his take was very different of Halloween, but at the same time, I wish it would have stayed truer to, yeah, just like the other different timelines in there. But I'm really excited to see this one, and I think it comes out next Friday.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It'll be the Halloween movie, or literally the Halloween movie
It'll
everybody
be
wants
the
to go
Halloween
see.
movie to see, yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at other horror indie films like the tops, and of course up there is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974, the original. The first Saw, the first Paranormal Activity.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, going back to Halloween, if you look, this is another thing I was really, really excited for. And again, if you're as old as I am, you kind of started geeking out when they relaunched, and it was the Fangoria magazine.
Yeah.
I ordered mine. This is not a plug because we're not sponsored by anybody, not yet. But if Fangoria listens to this podcast or broadcast to you, whatever, hopefully they'll be like, hey, dude, let's listen y'all some free copies.
Shout out to Fangoria,
yeah.
just in case, you know.
Yeah, but the cover of the new Fangoria, which just launched, actually covers Halloween. So I'm excited to see that. I haven't gotten it in the mail, but when we do, we'll unwrap it here, and then we'll take some pictures.
Didn't they put their headquarters in Austin too, right?
No, they're in Dallas.
In Dallas, yeah. Here in
Matter of
Texas.
fact, they're also filming. They're going to be doing one of their own films.
they do their own film.
I can't remember what it's called, but it is a horror film. It's based in Dallas. I've been seeing a lot of posts on their Twitter feed and whatnot, but I'm really excited. A lot of things here in Texas that most people don't realize. Walking Dead.
Yep.
Walking Dead came here.
Yep, up in Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're
you
going
see-
out for another season. This just started shooting, I believe, just recently. They started shooting again.
Yeah, because Walking Dead, the main series, just came back, so they're probably filming right now.
Yeah,
See, so I mean,
that's pretty amazing.
So as far as the Texas independent film industry, we're getting up there. We're starting to get noticed. But then again, I mean, it takes time and effort. It took Atlanta and LA and to kind of get up there for a while. I know a lot of it moved to Canada, but hopefully we'll be competing, and hopefully we'll bring some good news to San Antonio soon.
Yeah, there's a lot of independent films. Fangoria is a big push. I remember Fangoria in the 80s and 90s. They were a huge magazine for horror. A lot of the big greats, Romero and all those were always in Fangoria. I would go check out to see what they were working on and what kind of special effects and gory stuff they were actually working on. And yeah, you would always pull up Fangoria off the magazine rack, and there was some pretty disgusting stuff. The Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead. That cover for Fangoria was pretty freaking amazing. And that whole the tar monster, the tar zombie coming out, that was pretty amazing back in the day. But that was one of those vivid memories when I was a younger child. That magazine. If you don't know what Fangoria is, check out Fangoria. Try to get some of the old issues too. Those are pretty
They're
interesting.
collector's items.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah.
And again, it mainly for a lot older cats. We remember it only because, I mean, it was our way of learning about the film industry.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, you know, they actually had a lot of tips on how to do stuff, practical stuff, which is something that we've talked about many times.
Yeah.
Practical versus,
Always go practical as
Yeah.
far as besides CGI.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, CGI it's starting to look good, but I don't think you could be.
Starting. It's
Yeah,
starting.
it's starting. And I mean, we tested it out in our own movie, and we meant it to be cheesy. It looked cheesy, but it takes too much time, versus the practicality of doing a good trick.
I mean, even big budget films now, like they're still struggling with some CGI issues. I mean, Avengers: Infinity War had some cheesy moments in there, and
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
I don't think they could ever make Spider-Man look good CGI.
I mean, yeah, sort of actually having someone move like that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
It's kind of, I don't know if you remember, but when CGI first started, I think Daredevil was one of the first ones that I saw, and he was jumping from building to building, and you could tell it looked like this blurry, fuzzy, man-looking object going from building to building, and then they cut to the person. I'm like, dude, that doesn't look anything like Daredevil, and I'm like, I think they're still having, like you said, those issues with it, you know.
But if you still remember, like old films, you still remember some of those iconic things that were done practically that can never really be replaced with CGI or any computer graphics, like the exploding chest of aliens when that thing popped out of his chest.
Mm-hmm.
That was all done practically. The eyes popping out from was it Schwarzenegger movie? Golly, not Runaway Man.
You're talking about Recall. Total Recall.
Total Recall.
Total
Yeah.
Recall.
Remember when he's like his eyes were bulging out? Yeah, that was. I mean, you can't do that kind of stuff.
Tomb Raider, when the melting head, that was done practical,
yeah,
and up until this day, that's probably one of the most iconic practical effects for somebody.
Indiana Jones?
Yeah, Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Raiders
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Was it?
Raiders?
Raiders of the
Lost
Ark,
Ark,
yeah.
When they open up the Ark and
and they all their faces.
There you go.
built up. Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I saw. I think it was like almost a 2-hour special on YouTube. So if you look it up, it's pretty crazy because they went through trials and trials and trials and
Layers of
latex and wax and whatever, and they had big heaters placed on it. Yeah, that was really cool.
I mean, you can look at that movie now and it still looks cool. Just seeing that scene, because it just doesn't age. Some of those movies and some of those practical effects, they just don't get old. And practical effects are still way beyond anything we can do with CGI.
Yeah, well, because when you do practical effects, they last forever.
Exactly.
CGI, you have limitations. I mean, I hate to knock on Star Wars, but the first Star Wars.
Man, come on.
if you look at those first Star Wars, you still see you can see the lines and you can tell it's you could do it better now, but if a lot of stuff was done practically, it looks a lot better. Especially the cantina scene. You look at the practical as opposed to the remake when they added CGI. It's night and day. You can't really replicate that.
Or the Jabba the Hutt scene
Correct.
that they added to it,
Correct.
which was CGI'd. It looks totally fake as opposed to some of the other stuff, like you said, that actually
Done
were
practically.
practical. And again, you had to bring up Star Wars. That's one of my favorite movies.
Well,
They have this on it.
Well, to bring it to to movies that just came out recently, I just saw Venom that came out a week ago, 2 weeks
How
ago.
was that?
It actually was decent. I don't think it garnered the 28% it had on Rotten Tomatoes prior to the movie coming out. But there were some issues with it. I don't want to get too spoilery with it, but there were some tone issues, some pacing issues, but it didn't take away from the entire movie. It's a superhero movie. I don't know what people really want from it, but in terms of effects, there's a whole car chase scene, like most action movies now, and you can see what's done real, and what's done CGI'd.
Yeah.
But those scenes that are done practical with cars flipping over and everything and engines exploding and everything, it looks real, and it definitely adds to what's going on in the scene.
Well, the 28% Rotten Tomatoes, NPR just put something out recently, because it competes with Stars Born. A lot of Lady Gaga fans are actually going up there and knocking down Venom because they want A Star Is Born to beat Venom in the box office.
That's where Venom got weird, because it was a 28% before the movie came out. Once the movie came out,
Correct.
the fan reviews were like at 85 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's still around there. It's still doing decent with people who actually are into the movie. It's just the critics are like, well, you could have done this differently, or why is it done like this, or you're trying to be a horror movie, but then it ended up being a comedy movie, or anything like that. But it's what it is. It's a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Well, Marvel
Big budget.
associated movie.
Yeah, big budget. Those movies are okay. I still prefer the low independent movies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them out there that you research and you look up,
Mhm.
especially now during Halloween. There's a lot of really good horror movies out there. And besides Insidious, that they say it's low budget, but I mean, those stills are ridiculous budgets, but
Yeah.
movie I really liked recently that independent, it was Terrifier. I don't know if you ever, man, that movie, ridiculous. It's on Netflix. It's an independent film. It looks like an independent film, but it's low budget. You could tell it's low budget, but it's really well shot, really terrifying, really freaky, creepy clown thing. There's some scenes in that you're like, makes you want to just gag, but it's so freaking good. So if you get a chance, watch Terrifier. It's an independent film. It's really, really good. Especially the one scene where he like. Anyway, I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's a tuck scene where he tucks and he puts a wig on, and yeah, it's creepy. The actor, amazing, creepy clown. It was really good, really well made.
You know, going back to what y'all were saying earlier, about the whole rating system, that's something that's been under controversy for a while as well. What critics say versus what the fans say. Like AJ was saying, you know, Venom is a superhero movie. That's all it is. It's entertainment. There's nothing deep about it. It's there for sheer entertainment. If you get lost in the movie, it's done its job. It's there to entertain you. You laughed a little, cried a little, you know, yelled, no, don't go into that door. Watch out, you're back. It's done its job, you know. And for some reason, I don't understand how critics review versus fan review always have so big of a gap. Like you were saying, Venom, it scored what?
I think with the critics, it was like, I think a 28, somewhere around there. And then with fans, it was like about an 85, 86.
Yeah, same thing with like the Halloween series. Most of the Halloween movies have scored really, really low on the critic review, but then fans are just eating them up. I mean, they went all the way to like Jason 30-something. I don't know. It's just ridiculous amount of numbers.
What is it, Jason in Space or something?
Yeah, Jason in Space. Come on, it's like Leprechaun in space, Jason in space. We just needed Freddy in space, and we have everybody in space by then, you know? It's like the Great Space Odyssey, you know, death by space. But with that said, let's take a real quick break. Again, you are listening to KUIW, Cardinal Radio, San Antonio, Texas. It is going to be 11 o'clock. Again, you are listening to Film Noobs. We're just here talking, BSing about independent films, the films we like. You could follow KUIW at Facebook, KUIW.org, Twitter at KUIW, Instagram is again KUIW Radio, and ours on Twitter, KUIW. I'm used to saying KUIW. Our Twitter feed. Film Noobs, you could hit us up on there. We just launched it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to talk about a film, I would, anything, a critical review on us, that'd be great. A low one, I appreciate that one because that means we're doing well. Based on all the movies we watched, they all have great low critic reviews, so the lower we get, the better we're doing, I think. But again, you are listening to KUIW, Cardinal Radio, San Antonio, Texas, and we are Film Noobs. Back to our talking about independent film.
Independent films. Well, I think the stigma for those low ratings is because horror movies, as far as independent horror movies, always get bad low ratings. I don't think critics really appreciate how much hard work and dedication it takes to actually make some of those movies. They see somebody getting decapitated or losing a limb or something, they're like, oh, you know, that's not entertainment. That's just, you know how Hollywood
old
is.
Stuffy
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I hate saying it that way, but I think that's the true reality, that most critics tend to be older gentlemen that kind of have this weird stigma about the golden age of Hollywood, and most independent films are not golden age of Hollywood.
And then you have the diversity where you have a lot of housewives, a lot of the MPAA. They have a bunch of.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
we're not even gonna get into that one.
The MPAA, I mean, it has some ex-school teachers, reverend. They have a diverse group of people, but they're not people that appreciate those kind of movies. They're into, they think La La Land is the best
greatest,
movie
movie
ever. You know, Freaking that movie stunk.
I mean, cinematically it was okay.
No,
It's-
man, that movie
it was
wasn't even
okay.
cinematically.
It's got pretty moments.
Yeah, it does.
I keep saying Crybaby was a better freaking musical than that movie. 'Cause
Oh my goodness.
I love Crybaby.
Next thing you know, is West Side was the ultimate, musical for you.
Hey, there's Puerto Ricans in there.
That's why I said West Side. That was not racially driven whatsoever. But yeah, no, yeah, critic reviews, man. You know what? And again, I know this is tooting our own horn. Going back to our film, Lowriders versus Zombies from Space. When I was looking at the critics review, we were at a 5.3 or something like that, and I was like, okay, let me look at some of the demographics of who's actually voting on these, and I was like, dude, it is older people, and it's like I'm getting the lowest ratings, like a 1 and a 2. Which I'm happy I'm getting rated, because at least that means people are watching it. You know what I mean? So, again, that's always a good thing. But then when you start comparing yourself with other films of that same genre and type, you're like, dude, I'm not doing too bad, because, I mean, most of them average about a 5.3.
Yeah.
None of them, like, over 30% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. If you're doing over 40%, you are golden.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
Yeah.
the ultimate golden ticket for us as independent filmmakers, to get a rating over 40% from a generator like Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that.
I mean, that's the big one that people pay attention to is Rotten Tomatoes, because that's the one that always comes up on the headlines. But, there's also Metacritic, IMDb, and a bunch of other ratings. But, I mean, Rotten Tomatoes I think that's the one that fans can vote on a little easier.
Yeah.
Without having to have your own account. And
And then,
Blood type, Mexican,
Yeah.
Just vote, yeah.
Yeah.
Giving DNA sample
Yeah.
and all that good stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking at an IMDb list of, like, scary good indie horror movies that you probably haven't seen.
I bet you have.
And
All right,
and
let's
so-
name some of them.
I know, and I'm like, but
Is Teeth in there?
Teeth actually is.
That is if you ever watch
It's-
a movie that is going to disgust you and it's really good, it's horror, it's really cheesy, but it's
Yeah,
Teeth is one of them.
But the first two on the list are ones that I think anybody who's got Netflix has heard of, which is The Babadook and
Babadook.
and It Follows,
Yeah,
which I haven't seen that one yet, but I've everybody has.
The Babadook was well made. That movie
it is
was
a weird movie.
really scary, really well
It's
executed.
done really well. Some of the shots are
Yes.
it's just creepy.
It's insane. The
It's
shadows,
weird. Yeah,
yeah. The shadow shots are insanely good.
it's a weird movie, but it's good. It is actually very good.
That's in there for. Oh man, I
The
thought
Babadook is number 1 on this list, actually.
I would think something like Tire would be up there. Have you ever seen that? That was a really good movie. It's about a tire that goes around killing people. It's no, don't laugh.
It's a tired.
It's good. It's a really good movie. It's an independent film. It's really well shot. It's really the conceptually it's you would like, oh wow. It's like, but I really enjoyed that movie. I was enthralled the whole time. I was stuck in it. I watched that right after Teeth though.
But there's also movies that are on here like Don't Breathe and
Oh, yeah,
Lights
that was
Out.
good.
Yeah.
Which Lights Out, I don't know. It didn't scare me. It didn't really get to me
Yeah.
that much.
Don't Breathe was good though.
Don't Breathe is actually very good
Yeah.
for something that's not straight like supernatural horror, which is I
Yeah.
think most the movies that are coming out recently.
Yeah, I don't like those too much. The
The
super
supernat-
horror stuff.
Yeah,
Even though I like slasher films and I like, just overall horror, but for some reason supernatural films still freak me out a little.
there's something about a
Yeah,
human
like
coming after you
Exorcist?
that
Yeah.
makes it real.
I'm
Like, so-
okay with that. I'm okay with somebody slashing me away, but when it comes to like me closing my eyes and there's nothing there, it's like okay, yeah.
Interesting.
So you prefer like something like Strangers as opposed to something like The Exorcist?
Yeah, you know what? I watched Exorcist once in my life, and that was
Really?
it.
Have you seen the remake?
No,
You gotta
dude,
watch the remake. No, the added scenes actually add to the movie.
I don't need
really,
anything added to the movie.
No,
I mean, even to this
Fair
day,
enough.
it still holds.
when she does the upside down walking down the stairs thing, and that was you gotta watch the original is good. I mean, with the whole cross and the peas and everything.
Thrown up and the spewing, all that good stuff.
The original's a classic. I
The
mean,
original's a classic, but the added scenes actually add. I think it adds to the movie. I think it gave it a little more freakiness because we wanted to see more of her doing the supernatural stuff.
I don't think
That
I
kinda
wanted
added
to
it.
watch any more of her doing anything. Honestly, I was pretty like, dude, I'm good. Like I said, I've watched it once in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm old as heck. You know, but yeah.
But you know, hats off to her. She was really young when she did that movie.
So you can just imagine how she is right now. She's
Yeah,
like,
she's
kinda,
super
I
sweet.
saw her.
Yeah.
I saw her at Comic Con one year. And,
Yeah, she's super sweet.
yeah,
She's really nice.
She's like nice.
It's just like the
smiling
girls
to
from
everyone.
dang it, I forgot.
Which one?
The
Shiny?
twins, yeah, the Shiny. There you go, from
Yeah.
Shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Milton.
No.
Uh,
Oh come
Oh
on.
golly! I just
Lisa and they
Milton
start with
twins.
L.
It's the Milton twins.
is it?
Not the Milton
No,
twins.
it's not the Milton twins.
No, that's some porn thing, I think.
Oh god.
You know, we are a Catholic radio station.
Oh god. I'm looking at the. Trying to find the movie. Like the actual. I'm finding the actresses.
No.
It's funny because in the movie I named my
The Grady twins.
the Grady,
Grady
twins.
twins, there you
Yeah,
go.
Dr. Grady.
It's Lisa and what was the other one? I know Lisa.
Yeah, the Grady
Yeah.
twins.
Ooh. I'm trying to like quiz myself now before I look it up. Grady twins.
I named my like the
Lisa and Louise, played by the twin sisters Lisa and Louise Burns.
Now, here's a weird little thing. If you watch Family Guy and The Simpsons,
Mhm.
both daughters are Lisa and Louise, and they've
Those are the actresses, though.
no.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that
Yeah.
that's one of the weird things that I love watching Bob's Burgers
Yeah.
and Simpsons, and
The little
it
hats
just so
like
happens that the little girls are Lisa and Louise.
Yeah.
And I've never put it, two and two till somebody I can't remember who mentioned it to me, and they're like, dude, that's the
Weirdos.
the Grady twins from Shiny. I was like, oh my gosh, enlightenment right there.
That was a good movie though. I mean, I know Stephen King hates the movie, but I thought that was pretty decent. It does draw out a little bit. It does. There's some parts
There's
that
some
like,
moments, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the one that I hear people talk about in The Shining that draws out is like the scenes with Danny on his little three-wheeler on the carpet.
oh yeah.
But I don't know. To me, because I don't know, I hear things more than I see, so it's like it grinds on you a little bit. Just that
Yeah.
sound over and over again from carpet to hardwood, carpet to hardwood.
And I think that's what it was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if, like you were saying, audio-wise, because we are two big audio guys, a lot of influence has to do with what you could hear versus what you could see,
Yeah.
especially in a horror film. I know, again, this is very technical. Like with us, our normal hearing is from 20 to 200, I think, dB. And anything below 20 dB, so you start kind of freaking out and feeling all weird and fuzzy and whatnot. So when you start hearing certain noises within those levels of grumbling, grinding, and stuff, those are really low sounding noises.
Those are the ones that make your hair stand up on the back of your neck and
Yeah.
everything.
But
You
then you hear no noise at all. Total silence in a movie is freaky
Did
too.
you ever-
Like The Quiet Place.
The Quiet Place was
Yeah,
a crazy one.
that was really because
The audio design
the
on that
audio
is
is really.
insane.
I mean, you hear the ambient noise, and then all of a sudden it's
It just cuts
Silence,
out
yeah.
because
You're
there
right.
is there's the silence from the movie from
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else, but then
Correct.
it cuts to the daughter's perspective who's actually
Who's
deaf,
actually
and
deaf
then
in the movie,
it's just the ringing. It
It's
creeps
eerie.
you. Yeah.
It's eerie.
It's
Yeah,
really eerie.
It's unnatural. It's what it is.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
adds that unnatural feel to it.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
really
I'm
well
gonna throw another one, and I know you're gonna hate this because you're gonna be like, oh my god, here he goes, Star Wars reference. Oh,
I don't think I've ever seen it.
you never seen the show. One of the scenes from the newest one, I think it was
Last
Solo?
Jedi.
yeah,
Last Jedi. You're talking
Last
about
Jedi.
the
when when the
cruiser-
ship
yeah.
cruiser goes through everybody because it goes into light speed,
mm,
and for like 2.2 seconds,
It's
there's
nothing.
ultimate quiet.
and just shot.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best shots that Star Wars has had when it comes to being real.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know Star Wars is very fantastical.
Right.
But to have something that's realistic like that, that in outer space there's no sound, and
Really?
I mean, unless you fart, but that's different. I think fart cuts like through space and time continuum
With the cheese.
with the cheese.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those things that's like everybody wasn't expecting it, and
Yeah.
it kind of draws the audience out, but at the same time it's like, dude, it should add another level to the movie.
Yeah. I think when I went to go see that movie, there was actually in the theater. There was actually a collective just go. and then everybody was just like staring, like no one wanted to move. Like it was just crazy because no one's done that before. I mean, it hasn't been done in Star Wars before, and it hasn't. We haven't heard complete silence in Star Wars before like that.
Yeah.
Like it should be in space, really.
Yeah.
And then also just it's visually amazing when you look at it.
Yeah. Because again, I mean, you expect big, fantastical
Mhm.
scores and zooms and swooshes and
Yeah.
you know the lightsabers and I'm really tempted to do his lightsaber sound because you just think lightsaber, all of a sudden you're like, yeah, yeah. It's like very iconic.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, there's the idea, you know, with audio and everything. There's the idea that behind George Lucas, the one person that you can thank for the success of Star Wars is John Williams.
I've never heard of that guy.
I've never heard of that. Lucas?
Yeah. But yeah, it is. The score has been iconic. Just the last movie, I think, for the Oscars, it took away, look it up, I think 4 Oscars for just audio alone.
You're talking about Last Jedi, right? Like
Yeah.
the last one?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last one, it took like 4 Oscars just for audio.
Best original music score, best visual effects, best sound mixing, and best sound editing. So three and
Yeah, it didn't win for anything else. I mean,
Yeah,
Actually,
didn't
no.
care.
Actually, no. They were just nominated.
It's still a nomination.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they
You know
didn't
what I
actually.
mean? They were acknowledged for that. Just like that other movie. I think you told me about it. It was a war movie. Dunkirk. I think that's what it's called.
Was it Dunkirk? Which one? The one I'll tell you about. They recorded each individual bullet.
Yeah.
No, that was to what conscientious objector guy. What's his name?
It was a recent war movie.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw
Yeah.
Ridge. There you go.
That was amazing. Yeah, each individual bullet is recorded, and then they're all mixed in within the film so that it causes that. I mean, they shot each individual rifle, the actual rifle that was used during that time period,
Mhm.
and they recorded that sound, and they just put each individual bullet within the film so that it added that whole realistic effect of the wartime battle. That was pretty. To do that, that's impressive. That's some dedication. That's some time. Yeah. So I saw a whole documentary of that. I was like, wow, dude, that's crazy. They have to pull those. I mean, pull that each individual bullet and stuff to do that. That's pretty crazy. But sound does add a lot, especially to horror movies. Bringing me back to the Omen. I don't know if people see the Omen. Back to the old Omen. That movie. I mean, you go back and listen to it. There's a lot of like freaky, creepy things. A dog barking constantly, where he's like with a tricycle. That's what I remember. Think of it as a tricycle. He's riding a tricycle and he hits his nanny, knocks her over. Yeah, that movie. That's another classic horror movie that people don't really. A lot of people have never seen it. But it's about the Antichrist, you know.
Yeah.
And
I feel
it was
like
Omen 1, 2, 3. I think it was like
I think there's 3 of the originals, and then they made the remake, and then they made the remake of the remake.
Yeah. But the originals are really, really freaky. They have really good scores. They use sound a lot, especially the dogs barking when you know he's around.
Yeah.
The dog was always defending the kid to make sure that nothing happened to the kid. Then the nanny, I love you, Damien. She goes and jumps off the thing and hangs herself.
Is it the remake? Is it the remake where he has that line hanging his mom off the banister? He's like, "Bye, mommy," and then just drops her.
I think that's the remake.
Is it that remake? Yeah.
That's a classic movie. That was one of those movies I sat there when I was a kid, and I was like, I'm just spoiling my brain right now. It's like I'm gonna end up some kind of demented kid or something.
You did end up doing
I love those old movies though. Like Creepshow was amazing. Tales from the Crypt was so good.
Yeah.
You started watching like Twilight Zone, and then you just kind of progress into those type of movies. Creepshow was really freaky. The whole cockroach scene, remember that?
No.
Man, that made me freaking hate. I still hate cockroaches. Little bug freak with his hand washing and yeah. Never seen Creepshow. Watch Creepshow. That movie is The Birthday Cake. Yeah, that's another good one.
I'm looking for more of these lists of like horror, like top horror indie films, and I was looking for another one because on that. Oh, there's a Terrifier. Oh, that clown is.
Look at this.
You know,
look at the cover of that. That's freaky.
You know what though? I gotta say clowns. Let's go on the subject of clowns real quick. But hold on, real quick. We do have to give our plug. Again, you are listening to KUIW Radio, San Antonio, Texas. And this is 11:15, right about, depending if you're on GPS time, plugger time. iPhone time, but
Droid time.
Droid time. Again, you can follow us on kuiw.org for Facebook. Twitter is at KUIW, Instagram KUIW Radio, and of course for us, if you want to drop us a line, shout out, or talk about a certain film, it's Film Noobs on Twitter, and that's about all we have. Let's go back to clowns.
Don't say Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Dude, I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That is ultimate OG classic right there. No, but
It is an OG classic.
It is an OG classic, man. That will never be beaten. But as far as what was it called again?
Terrifier?
Terrifier.
That is genuinely creepy looking. That's like French clown looking.
What's really creepy is there's a scene where two girls are sitting in a restaurant, and he walks in with a bag, sits down, and and I was talking to a friend of mine about this. The whiteness gives it this whole, like, it should be pure and clean, but he's white, and the whole background is white, and it looks ridiculously creepy. I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, it's unnerves you, and he has this big smile on his face, and you're like, oh yeah, that's not right at all. And then the girl sits on his lap and tries to take a selfie, and I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, seriously, can't you tell that guy is something mentally deranged with him? But yeah, that whole white scene is one of my favorite scenes in Terrifier, because it should be clean, but it's dirty. Like, everything's white, but it's a dirty, dirty scene, because it's like, he has that nasty smile on his face. Yeah, it's a really good movie. It's a really good independent film.
Another one that came out in that I saw it in Netflix was Stitches.
I did see that one.
And they have a lot of really good practical.
Is that the one where he starts off as a clown and then like
he gets killed or something like that? Yeah, and then he comes back. Oh, he's brought back as an egg, or an egg is representative of him or whatever, and the major big uber clown brings him back to life to revenge his laughter or something like that. And there was a lot of really good special effects, like when he puts, instead of blowing up a balloon, and make it into a balloon animal, he gets somebody's guts and
someone's intestines.
Yeah. Okay, I saw that. Yeah.
He even put it on somebody's head and blows up his head, and that was done practical. So if you like practical, that's another one that you have to watch.
I did see that.
And that one
is an older movie, but it just came out on Netflix.
Yeah. It looks like it, but yeah, it's actually it's 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's runs at a 5.7 on IMDb. And 79% liked that movie, which that's pretty good, man.
Yeah, I like that movie too. Yeah, I knew it was an older movie. I had heard about it through some grapevine or something, and it was like, oh, you gotta watch this, blah blah blah. And it came out, and yeah, I'm surprised it came out on Netflix. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was a really good movie. It just came out recently. Yeah. There's a couple independent films out there that I've seen. I'm like, those movies are really good, and they'll come out eventually. But like, you go to film festivals, local film festivals. I've seen a lot of really good movies. I know that I'm hoping they'll come out and eventually, like on Amazon or Netflix. There's one very inappropriate movie. I love this movie, but it's called Holy Hell.
Oh my goodness!
And it's a Canadian guy.
They're gonna shut us off. Well, it was a great pleasure. Our first and only show, guys. Thank you very much.
No, there's the Canadian guy. I think his name is LaPlante. But
he's French.
Well, Canadian. Yeah,
okay.
But
French Canadian.
But he it's his, I think it's his first or second film, but really good filmmaker, really independent. He spent a lot of time making this movie. That movie, it was really, really good. Very inappropriate. I was like, I'm not right because I'm laughing so hard at this thing. Because it's, a lot of the humor is very inappropriate, but it's practically done. Like, there's a scene where this guy gets split in half, and it's all done practical with some CGI kind of like added into it, but you could barely tell. But yeah, if you ever had a chance, look him up. It's called Holy Hell. It's about a priest that gets tied up, and then they kill him supposedly, and he comes and he's not really dead. He comes back and he exacts revenge, and he does the Lord's work and taking out all these guys. But I'm hoping to get that. I've talked to the director a couple times, and I keep telling him, hey, just send me a copy, man. I'll buy a copy from you, because It's one of those movies. Independent film. I really love that movie. But there's a lot of movies like that come out in film festivals I really enjoy. And I like the.
Talking about film festivals, there's some coming up here very soon.
We do. We have quite a bit.
Matter of fact, ours again. Plug, shameless plug.
Yeah.
That's all right. Shameless plug. Next Saturday, we will be at Spook Fest,
Spook
which
Fest,
is at VFW 4700 down in the south side, roughly.
Yeah. Down on Frio Street.
Frio
Frio
Street.
Road.
No, yeah.
Free Road, and we will be having our own little film festival.
8, right?
Yeah, no, it starts at 5.
No, it's Spook Fest 8.
Yeah, Spook Fest 8.
Yeah.
It's their 8th festival.
Correct.
Basically, they have Halloween contest, costume contest, car show, food, a lot of events there happening. Again, this is all to help out the community.
Yep.
Anything that is any money that's raised goes to a further project that they have, Santa's Cruisers, and that helps out in December. And what that is, again, it's a bunch of cars that end up getting together and they drive from I don't know, they change locations, but they drive to downtown, one of the shelters, and they deliver a bunch of toys. So again, I mean, all this helps out the community. It's really, really awesome. I was going to say something else. But they invited us to do a film festival. So this will be our first film festival for Spook Fest 8. Again, you can follow them on Facebook, Spook Fest 8. Again, it's a really, really good community opportunity. It's run by the Mystic Knights. They've been doing a lot of community outreach for a long time. And again, that's just one of the things that we try to reach out and do, besides, enjoy horror films and films in general, but helping out the community. But if you have a chance to, next Saturday, it starts at 5. It's at the VFW 4700 over there at Frio City Road. And you can find us there. Come over and talk to us. Complain about our show. That's all right. Again, like I said, the lower rating we get, the better I think we're doing. We're gonna follow that idea
All the way to the bank.
all the way until they fire us and get rid of us. So again, this will be our last show. I'm just kidding.
The B movie, I
Yeah.
take it all the way.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, yeah, you know what, y'all ain't doing nothing no more. Y'all are
I've heard
banned.
B movie. I've never heard B podcast.
We are the Bebop.
We'll just make it a C.
Yeah, even C. Hey, it's like our grades. It's just enough to pass. 2.9?
3.0.
Oh, 3.9 liar. Let's pull up his records. Anyways. So going back before we close up here in a little bit, we should be having the next show coming up. Again, hit us up on Twitter, which again, Film Noobs. You can follow the station. They have really, really awesome shows here on KUIW.org, on Twitter, same KUIW, on Instagram, KUIW Radio, and every other Thursday, I believe, right? The TV.
Oh yeah. UIW TV has broadcast. You can follow them on. The best way to do it is through Twitter, and they actually post a link on there so you can watch UIW TV, and they have a news station that talks about local stuff here in San Antonio and UIW.
Yesterday's broadcast just went on YouTube.
Yep.
Too,
Yeah.
And they also have a YouTube channel. So after they have their live broadcast, they'll edit it a little bit and throw it on YouTube.
Yeah, so
People
they are
watch it.
very interactive with everybody. If you tweet them or you do their Instagram,
Correct.
because they're live constantly on both Twitter and on Instagram. Again, that's UIW TV.
Correct.
They will answer anything. They always have questions posted up there. Again, they're very active in the community as well as school. They broadcast every other Thursday. They just had their broadcast this Thursday. If you didn't catch it, you could see it on
YouTube.
YouTube.
UIW TV.
Yeah, UIW TV. And with that said, we have a few more minutes that we could kind of.
Well, I mean, talk about community and San Antonio and so forth. San Antonio in October is huge community-wise. There's a lot of stuff going on this Halloween, October season. There's Horrific Fest coming up.
Oh, dude.
Horrific Fest is a film festival every year.
Yeah.
The Zombie Walk is another thing.
Matter of fact, that's all next Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
So it's a really, really big Saturday and Sunday for here in San Antonio, like you're saying.
Yep.
You have Horrific Fest.
Horrific Fest. They have artists. They have a lot of actors that come out to do autographs and so forth. They play a lot of really good independent films from all over. Like I said, I watched Holy Hell. That's where I saw Holy Hell. The guy came down. Actually, he came down from Canada, and I got to meet him. He showed his movie, and it was really good. But
This year they have Scream Queens.
Scream Queens.
So they have like 4. Can you put that up? I think they have like 4 or 5 classic B movie Scream Queens.
The lady from Night of the Comet, I think, is one of them.
What's the name?
Horrific Fest.
Horrific Fest.
And also, that Sunday, if you are a little bit more athletic, you want a challenge, we have Zombie Walk.
Oh, it's not a. There's a lot of big people there. You don't
Yeah.
have to be athletic. You just walk.
No, I mean, if you like to walk, I'm not one of those people. I'm gonna stay at the booth. That's why I say athletic. You know, the most athletic I get is out of bed. That's about it. You know.
Yeah, but the Zombie Walk, you can go to Zombie Walk on Facebook, Zombie Walk San Antonio. They're great. Every time it's a good time. It's like $5 to enter the little Villita area. This is downtown, the Villita area. They have live music. They have a tribute band. I can't remember who they're tributing, but they have a tribute band this year. They have a DJ. They have tons of merchandise. They have some old cars, zombie cars, and so forth. It's real. And then I think it's at 8 o'clock. Once the sun goes down, they walk from La Villita all the way to the Alamo, and then they have a big party down at the Alamo. It's a really, really good event downtown. Zombie certified, and then Zombie Walk San Antonio. They put it together, and they spend a lot of time and effort to get the San Antonio Police Department to shut down roads and get that event going.
Yeah, so at the Horrific Film Fest, they've got 4 guests, the Ladies of Horror. So Tiffany Shepis, which Sharknado 2.
Oh yeah.
I love Sharknado. Dude, I'm so sad they stopped making Sharknado.
It was about time.
No, come on, man. No, it's never my time. If Jason X could go into space, I think Sharknado should. No, they did.
They did go
They
to
did.
space.
I'm sorry, they did. I forgot about that. That was like the 3rd one.
Yeah, it was what is it? What did they call it? The fourth. Was it the fourth?
No, Sharknado the 4th.
The Fourth Awakens. Was it
The
the
Fourth
Fourth Awakens?
Awakens,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's the 4th movie. So they also have Patty Mullen from Doom Asylum, Jill Sholin from Phantom of the Opera, and Judy Aronson from Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, and Weird Science. So that'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Weird Science. Yeah.
Weird Science, dude. I think we all grew. We all know why we love Weird Science, and we all grew up. If you grew up in the 80s and 90s,
Was it Kelly? What's her name?
LeBrock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kelly
Kelly
Brock.
LeBrock.
Oh my
That was like the ultimate eye candy for a
Oh,
lot of us. So that
jeez.
was one of those movies that
Ridiculous.
you watched over and over, and you were like, dude, I hope my parents don't walk in on the most inopportune
Yeah.
time.
Like Fast Times in Metro Ohio when she comes out of the pool.
Oh yeah.
But that, again, let's keep
Alright.
it clean. Before we get fired in our first show.
Yeah, but Horrific Fest, it's one of the good festivals here in San Antonio. They put a really good, I can't remember the guy's name, he puts a really good show. It's really well organized, really good independent films. And they have some really good actresses and actors that come out there. They had the Tar Monster from Return of the Living Dead one year. They had the guys from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy come out there. Leatherface came out there one year. The original Jason came out there one year. So yeah, they bring in some really good. If you like horror movies, that's one of the places to go to watch horror movies. That as opposed to the one in Dallas. They have a big one in Dallas, but here in San Antonio, that one's the one to go to here. That they give away the little chainsaws, which are little boards that they give out every year.
Maybe one day we'll get one of those. Or chainsaws. Maybe. We'll try next
give
year.
it a shot.
We'll try next year. But again, those 3 are happening next weekend. So if you have a free time, we'll probably be talking about them not next week, but the following week, because I know we'll be at least at 2 of them, which is going to be that Spook Fest.
Mm-hmm. It'll be at Spook Fest.
We'll be showing our movie. Plus, we'll also be helping out with
the
the
Zombie Walk.
event. And then we'll be at Zombie Walk the following day. So we have 2 really big days for us.
Yep. I'll be on makeup. I'll put my own zombie makeup out there, and we'll be out there scaring little kids and handing out candy and selling DVDs. If you want any Lowriders vs. Zombies DVDs, we'll be out there selling some DVDs.
I still need mine, by the way. I still need mine.
Anything else? I mean, we'd like to talk about before we wrap it up for today.
And I do know that probably the week of the second, our show on the second, we'll probably be talking about Alamo City Comic Con too, because that'll be that last week of October.
Yeah,
the last week of
definitely,
October will be Comic Con. Yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
it's a big year.
Yeah.
And
Arnold Schwarzenegger is gonna be out there.
Rick Moranis, dude.
Rick Moranis. They're gonna have a lot of really good.
Oh, the
stars
girls
out
from
there.
the cat from darn it, I forgot the movie.
Darn it. What movie is that? Darn it? I don't know that movie.
Kraft.
Oh, really? All the girls from Kraft?
Well, no, they're missing one of them. I can't remember who they're missing, but yeah, most of the cast, the original cast from the Kraft, is gonna be out there. So I'm excited because I love the Kraft. If you don't like the Kraft, then you shouldn't be listening to our broadcast at all. Only because again, it's one of those things that you grow up watching over and over.
we pull a lot of influences from those movies because we talked about the movie we're working on right now, Texas Tales.
Matter of fact,
one of the characters was the costume she was wearing, the outfit she was wearing was based off of the Kraft kind of.
Oh, I don't know if this has been updated because I think Paul Rubens canceled his appearance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not much of a cancel there.
That's
my opinion.
That's a Pee-wee kind of cancellation.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Let's see who's all. I mean, we've got Jeff Goldblum, Rick Moranis, William Shatner, Ric Flair, but I think he's usually there. I think
William Shatner from Star Wars, right?
Yeah,
Oh no, sorry, my bad. Star Trek. My bad.
Okay, I'm turning off your mic now.
Star Trek, Star Wars. This is hard. It's a space.
On the subject of horror, though, Robert Englund.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, yes.
Oh yeah,
again.
He's been there in the past. He's really good. He's a really good. I mean, they have a little panel thing that he does.
We should invite him.
Yeah, he's really good to.
Why not? We should try to invite people over.
We could go for it.
Yeah.
Robert Englund's a really.
Worst thing they could tell us is no, go away, or call the cops. I've had that before.
Anybody who kills Johnny Depp, I'm a big fan of.
Oh, Sean Gunn's gonna be there. I wonder if anybody's gonna ask him about his brother.
And that is Mike Ford going out there.
But I guess Arnold Schwarzenegger is the headliner because he's
Yeah.
The only thing is, I'm sorry, but I can't see myself paying $1,200 to meet and greet the man. I mean,
Is it just no? But it's a lot more than
it
just.
it is a lot more than that. But at the same time, it's $1,200, dude. That's my house payment, car payment. My poor cats won't eat. Yeah.
That's my yearly income.
Yeah. But yeah, the biggest thing is that I'm really excited to meet the cast of The Craft. At least 3 of them. And only because, again, that's another really, really good, underrated, I wouldn't say horror film, but it's in this genre of horror. Because, again, it has all that witchcraft and all that good stuff. But it's a really, really good movie. I mean, I really like it. I'm digging it.
You know why?
For different reasons.
Yeah, that was what I was like, oh, I'm embarrassed to even watch this, but yeah.
You can't watch
I can't
it.
stop watching
You
it.
can't stop watching it. And then, of course, meeting Freddy Krueger. It's always a good thing.
Yeah.
He's a really good guy.
He's a really good guy too, yeah. Him and Danny Trejo. Those and a couple small ones. Really good guys, really down to earth. You meet them and they're just like, they were just welcoming. They're really, really good guys. You don't always see that with a lot of these artists. They're too big for their heads.
Yeah. The welcoming artist. They get big for their britches real quick, and it's like, no.
San Antonio is a big. I mean, I love San Antonio. There's a lot to do here. We welcome a lot of good people, and we do a lot of good stuff here. We do a lot of community stuff too. So I'm glad to be living here.
I think Texas in general, there's a lot more stars from here that we think there are, because there's a lot of big names. I think that are actually maybe not from San Antonio or Austin, but definitely from
Houston puts out a lot of big stars.
Yeah, but just Texas, and I mean Texas is so big, but that people come from everywhere.
Yeah, we have some stars that come out of here in San Antonio. We have what's his name? Can't remember his name. Horshack from. You know what I'm talking about?
Rorschach?
Yeah,
From
Horshack.
Watchmen?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, what's his name?
He was in Bad News Bears and he's in Preacher.
Yeah.
Super nice guy too.
Oh my god. There's two. God. I'm.
Anyways, but he's
Yeah,
from San Antonio
yeah.
here. He has his own little production company here in San Antonio.
Oh, he actually has a production company? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think he's like on hold because he's in a lot of stuff lately.
Well, yeah, production companies.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean,
Jackie
We
Earl
have-
Haley.
Yeah, Jackie Earl Haley. Yeah, great guy. Yeah.
we have Bad Boy Productions out of Austin with what's the name? Robert Rodriguez,
Uh,
or what is it
not
called?
Bad Boys, the
I mean,
Troublemaker Studios.
Troublemaker
Yeah,
Studios.
Up in
Troublemaker
Austin,
Studios.
yeah.
Yep, and then we have a bunch in Dallas.
Have
Matter of
they?
fact,
Yeah.
Fangoria.
Fangoria.
Like I said, they're just now starting in Dallas. So yeah,
Troublemaker put anything recently? I feel like I haven't seen their logo in a bit.
Troublemaker, the last thing they were actually were working on, as far as I remember, was Lido, Battle
or
Lido.
yeah, Battle Lido.
Yeah. And that was shot in Troublemaker Studios.
Oh, okay, yeah. That one looks decent. I mean,
A lot of CGI.
a lot of CGI.
lot of
but-
CGI,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're going
yeah.
back to the CGI.
That is a big budget film.
Um,
I was an extra in that. I went up there and I did a couple of days up there. They put a gray sleeve on me, and they're supposed to like mechanize it. And they did a 360 thing on me too, where they.
So you're gonna be that guy in the back corner where you see his arm and you're like, oh, dude, that's me over there.
They said that they took a group of us that they did what they call us replicas. So I guess they
Replicas.
they do clones. Back in that future, they do clones where you can be like multiple people. So they did 360 on a couple of us, and they can just plug us in anywhere in
Just fill
different
up the
scenes.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Multiple use.
Yeah.
No,
But the
that,
sets.
that would be dangerous, multiple use. You could barely handle one.
The scenes were ridiculous. The sets,
Yeah, the sets look crazy.
humongous. Great stunt coordinator, Warren Garrett. He's the stunt coordinator for that, and he had a really good crew out there. And they hired a couple of local stunt guys from Austin, Rob Brown, a couple guys up there did a bunch of stunts for that movie too, and they killed it. So I can't wait to see that. That actually should be pretty good.
Have you seen that one?
With the new Predator?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard mixed things about it.
Yeah.
I've heard that there's not enough Predator in a Predator movie.
That's kind of bad.
Which I was like, okay. But then also, Keegan-Michael Key's in it, which to me, he's always been a comedy actor. He's never been an actor, which I think I assume he is the comedy relief in that cast.
Mhm.
But no, I have not had a chance to go see it. But I was just looking it up right now because Troublemaker did Predators in 2010.
Oh,
Did they?
Predators,
Yeah.
really?
And
Oh,
then-
yeah.
I never knew that.
So I was trying to figure out who did the new one. It's Shane Black is the director.
Another classic movie. Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I think the first one was the ultimate. After that,
Yeah.
when they went to New York City with, what's her name? She was
Danny
pregnant.
Glover.
Yeah, Danny Glover and Maria Conchita Alonso. And I thought, I lost the Predator feel. I'm sorry, man.
The whole jungle thing was what I actually saw. And the comedic bits are hilarious in that movie, the
Yeah.
original. That it wasn't really. I don't think that's much of a horror movie though. It's just kind of like
It's an action movie.
adventure.
It's an action film,
Yeah.
It's
It's a
part
sci-fi
of,
action, yeah.
yeah, it's part of the great '90s action film genre that just
Yeah.
exploded.
Yeah. Along
With
there-
Arnold
up there with
Schwarzenegger and all
aliens
them.
yeah, Alien and everything.
Van
Yeah.
Damme.
And then we get the meetup, Alien versus Predator.
That was a really good movie, I thought. It was
Yeah.
undersold too,
Yeah.
and
It's,
it really could have
yeah.
taken off more. Especially once you start infusing the alien to the Predator and hybrids and stuff like that. Now going with that, with Aliens, with the new relaunch, I thought that was a miss.
Really?
Alien
I really-
Covenant, or what was the last one?
I think it was Covenant.
Was the Covenant the last one?
Yeah.
Because I saw,
When they went to the island, that planet.
well, I saw Prometheus, and
Prometheus,
then
yeah.
we realized, oh, it's supposed to be an Alien prequel.
Yeah.
And then I never saw Covenant, which I think was supposed to be right after that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I've heard, that one didn't do as well as Prometheus. Well, I don't know if Prometheus even did that well, actually.
I don't think none of them have actually done.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the whole relaunch is a miss. Like trying to go back to that whole story. It has actually no. Prometheus did decently. It has a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, 73 on Rotten Tomatoes, 64 on Metacritic.
No, it's not bad.
Covenant.
But I think what it is the fact that most of us like what we watch.
Yeah.
You know, and we've said it. We like Predator 1.
Yeah.
We want to see more of Predator 1.
Yeah.
So when you start changing things up and you're like, okay, cool.
But that's a Hollywood marketing thing, you know. They do the 3 movies, and then if that does good, they'll add 3 more, you know. Like the whole Matrix kind of umbrella.
I'm glad they stopped at 3.
They actually didn't. They stopped at 4.
What was 4?
Because they split up 3 into 2 parts. Remember that?
Oh my goodness. It's still the third part.
I've never been a fan of when movies do that. They split their
They
last
split the
chapter
last chapter
into
in
2
2.
movies.
It just takes you off. You know, you don't forget it. I don't care anymore. I don't
But
know.
who's going to sit there for 5 hours straight, man?
I will.
People did it for Lord
If
of the
it's
Rings.
good enough.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings was another one.
Yeah.
Like, chapter 1 of final, you know.
Yeah.
If it's good enough, I'll sit there and watch it.
And then it had, what was it, 4 endings to it? And the
ending.
ending lasted maybe about 30 minutes alone.
That's like Avengers. The last Avengers, you know?
Yeah.
How irritating was the end of the last Avengers? You're like,
This last one, the
Yes.
Infinity War?
The end
was
or
like,
the
come
end
on,
credit, the
man.
end credit scenes? Because the end credit scenes,
no, the
end.
the end.
the
Yeah, it's
actual
like,
movie.
oh, yeah, now what? What am I gonna do now? You know,
Wait
I gotta
till
wait
next
another year to freaking
Wait till next year, and then when everybody's contracts are over.
I'm already ticked off that I have to wait another 2 years or something to watch freaking the Game of Thrones for crying out loud.
That is pretty
Hell,
bad.
dude.
But you know what? It's going to be well worth it when we start watching Game of
Yeah,
Thrones.
but what if
again.
it sucks?
It's not. Come on. They got so many years of doing it right. They can't mess it up.
Yeah, they say that
They
about
can't
Walking.
interrupt.
That's what they say Walking Dead. You know.
No, you know what? Walking Dead after the 4th season was done.
Oh,
It was the same. It was the same thing. Is a group of people, like 5 people, they find a place, a utopia place where there's more people. They manage to mess it up. Zombies overtake that, and they move on to the next place. And they're like, "Oh, cool, we can make utopia here." And then they mess that up. They keep going the same thing. You know what? The common denominator is what? Them. So everything else is not messed up. The world is not messed up. It's those 5 people that keep messing things up. So again, I thought after the 4th season, I was like,
The thing is, they got away. They got so far away from the comic books.
And you know what?
The graphic
we
novels.
do have to say
They got so far away from it. If they would have just stuck closer to the, you know, Rick would have lost his arm, and lost his eye. You know that. I mean, there's so many things in there that if they just kept on going the way that the comic books gone, they would have been
real
okay.
quick to interject with Walking Dead. We have to give a shout out. He just recently passed away. A great actor,
Oh yeah.
Herschel.
Scott Wilson?
Yeah, Scott Wilson. Again, it's really sad when we lose a great actor. Again, who's put in his time,
Yeah.
done many more things than just Walking Dead. But a lot of us know him from Walking Dead, or at least discovered who he was because of that. So sometimes you have to see some of these movies, some of these shows that are really highly underrated or mainstream, whatever, to find that diamond in the rough.
Yeah, he was good.
And again, you know, a quick shout out. I know he just passed away, so you know.
He actually passed away, I think, the day before the series came back for season 9. So I think at the end of the episode, they actually did a in memory of Scott Wilson, because he was a big part of the show for a good 3 seasons, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it was sad when he died on the show.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, it was like, what? Yeah, it was just out of left field. He's like, no, they're not gonna kill him. Boom.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I think he was the one that held.
The glue that kept that group
yeah,
together.
He was that moral compass after
There you go.
after Dale. Dale was the moral compass
Yeah.
for the first couple seasons, and then he died, and then we had Herschel, and now we have no one.
You had no more compass. Just like the show.
Coral.
Oh man.
No, season 4 was when they left the prison, I think.
Yeah. It was.
I don't know. They all just kind of blurred into one.
That's what I'm telling you. After that, it's pretty much the same thing. And now they have that one dude that keeps following them, and I don't know. Just to me, it just seems the same plot story over and over.
I think when you add like CGI stuff on the TV shows, that kind of throws it off too. That CGI tiger was a mess.
Some of it, the tiger was a little weird in some parts, but some of the walkers that they use CGI on looked pretty decent. Like this new the season premiere had a couple moments where they had CGI on the zombies, and there was one where they put a prosthetic on to make the jaw to like where his jaw was hanging, and then painted the actor's cheek and chin green, so they made his face see through. And it actually looks pretty cool.
Well, it's the same thing that they do with Game of Thrones. A lot of the zombies, or what do you want to call them?
Yeah, the ice.
The White Walkers.
The White Walkers.
The White Walkers, yeah, they're pretty much I've seen some of the behind the scenes, in which they look ridiculously awesome. And again, going back to what we had started with, practical versus CGI. And you know what though, when you watch Game of Thrones, it doesn't miss a beat. Their editing is phenomenal, dude. I have to say, as much as they spend, I think they spend like almost 18 million per episode or something like that. Dude, it is ridiculous. But at the same time, when you watch it, it is so much payoff. And that's one of the biggest things that I always see. Is it worth the payoff?
Yeah.
All right, one of my favorite films, the quote was, "Is the juice worth the squeeze?" If you can figure out what movie that was. Huh?
White man can't jump.
Nope. Dude tells, I'll lead you into it. He's a pimp, and he tells the guy, "Is the juice worth the squeeze?" If you can figure out what movie that is, you're cheating.
I'm waiting for him. I'm cheating.
I know you're cheating.
I'm cheating.
Pulp Fiction.
No.
No.
No. Oh. Lowriders versus Zombies from Space.
No.
You wish.
I wish it was that good. You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I know you got it.
I got it.
I know he's got a big computer in front of you.
Yeah, leave me in the dark over here. Just come on, man.
The Girl Next Door.
Oh yeah. That was. Oh my gosh, I
haven't seen
that's
this
not
movie.
That's
Yeah.
not appropriate for this show.
Yeah.
But that movie, the one thing I remember, the one thing that
it
sticks
sticks
out of my
out, yeah.
mind, quote wise, is that, "Is the juice worth the squeeze?" And basically, going back to CGI and practical, which I think that was the biggest thing that we've been arguing about today, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Practical every time.
Practical versus CGI, and is it worth it? Some yes, no. Again, Spider-Man, Daredevil, no. You know,
If you look at
Game of Thrones,
no,
yes.
But if you look at like Punisher on Netflix,
Oh.
dude, that a lot of stuff is practical. That stuff is amazing. The bloody scene in the hall where
Because
he like
he's
takes out all
finally
the
a Marvel character on that show that we have that doesn't have superpowers, so it's just him
True, yeah.
shooting and beating people.
But the practical
Yeah.
stuff on that is amazing too.
Yeah.
The stunts in that, and
Oh, yeah.
Daredevil, the stunts are
Dude, Daredevil,
incredible.
the Marvel Universe
Incredible.
on Netflix is ultimate. I think it is.
Well, besides
Better-
the Defenders,
Well,
No, yeah, minus Defenders. No, Defenders was crud. It was just a big pile of crud.
it was an
And
8
Iron
episode.
Fist.
It was an 8-episode series about a team up that took
And-
4 episodes for them to team up.
and Iron Fist.
Yeah, and then when they did team up, if 2 of the episodes,
With them fighting.
you had to convince.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to convince. What's the name? Luke. No,
Luke and Danny.
Yeah.
Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iron Fist. Well,
Iron Man.
Iron Fist has to convince himself that he's Iron Fist, as always, because he's always convincing
I still need to watch
himself
season-
and everybody that he's Iron Fist.
I need to see season 2 because I've heard they took a step up in the right direction with Danny's character, but I don't know.
I don't know either.
But as far as Daredevil in the Marvel Universe, as far as Netflix, dude, I love everything they do. Their action sequence,
Oh, yeah.
their editing.
Their fight choreography is like really good.
Yeah,
It's
I
well,
will say
it's well thought out.
as-
That homage to Old Boy, hats off to them. That whole
Yeah.
hallway scene was amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as bad as Defenders was, the
We know how
hallway
hard that
fight
is.
scene is awesome.
Yeah.
But and Jessica Jones is.
I like Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones. It was a slow start, but it was good. It was.
I like
it was
the
a good
comic
payoff.
book, but I think that I hate
It's
to say
gritty.
it,
It's
I
really
think-
gritty.
I think the show is better than the comic book.
It's
I
the,
used
it's
to
the
like
DC
the
of
comic
the
book.
Marvel universe.
Yeah.
It's the DC
Yeah.
of the Marvel universe.
But you know what? It's still done right. The only thing I can't get over is I think Luke Cage? No, is it Luke Cage?
Which one?
The one that crosses over with her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke Cage, yeah.
Luke Cage.
He comes in
His-
that series.
When he crosses over into her series, I think that was really good. But on his own,
Well, they end up getting married in the anyways.
well, but on his own, the show Luke Cage, I think it's kind of, it's one of those that it's rough to watch.
Yeah.
Only me personally, because it's really, really race driven,
Mhm.
and I really hate that. Kind of like Black
The
Lightning.
Black Lightning, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, dude, it's a superhero. I
It
want to
goes
see a
back-
superhero.
If you watch the whole thing, like it goes back and forth. You know, sometimes it goes really, and then it kind of lessens up, and it's almost like
I mean,
looking
it
for his
borders
identity.
blaxploitation.
Yeah.
Which-
I think where Marvel finally got it right was in Black
There's no,
Panther
there's no black
with
dynamite.
Killmonger's character. Killmonger's motivation as a character in Black Panther was race driven, but they
Yeah.
didn't heavy hand it. They put it in the perspective of this is for all my brothers and sisters that have been enslaved, not
I think that a
Every
part of that
single
is
thing
that they try to
does.
get away from the actual comic book, because the comic book, all those characters are actually like snakes.
Yeah.
Like, Black Mamba is an actual snake, and I mean, they all wear these weird costumes. Even Power Man himself. I mean, I keep calling him Power Man. It's Luke Cage.
They do an homage to his
Yeah,
his
they
original
do,
costume.
yeah, with
It's
the
like
little-
half a second, he's like, no, and he just takes it off.
But that was that era. So
Yeah, it was that 70s era of comic books.
And then
Yeah.
it'd be hard to translate that whole like snake face where he like opens up his jaw, and then not be cheesy, because then you would have to do CGI. You could do practical, but they wouldn't. It takes a lot. So they just, instead of trying to get away from that, go back to.
I don't know.
Well,
Robert
yeah.
Rodriguez is damn, Before Dawn, I think. What is it? It's talking about snakes too.
Oh, From Dusk to Dawn.
Huh?
From Dusk to Dawn.
From Dusk to Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
The TV series is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I liked
it's
it.
alright.
A lot of CGI. It's CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking about snakes. I'm
You know it's
sorry.
CGI.
That's like left field. We're
Yeah.
talking about black exploitation.
What got me thinking was when you said like the face is open. I think it's that Scarlett Johansson movie that was based, The Ghost in the Shell. They have those. They have the robots. Their faces open up. That was actually, I think one of them was done practical. They replicated it.
I think what it was is, it was done practical but corrected CGI.
Yes.
Because I saw some of the behind the scenes for that too, and a lot of it was practically made, and then it was brought into CGI to correct some of the stuff and erase some of the little stuff that. of
But
course
those
happens.
but those masks that they made for the practical effects look awesome.
Yeah.
It just takes effort and time, money. But yeah, practical. I mean, 100%. Every movie that you watch out there, compare practical CGI. Practical will always be more memorable. It'll give you a better effect in the end if it's well done.
Even Star Wars.
Even Star Wars.
Even Star Wars. I gotta put that in.
Maybe
I'm
Star Trek.
turning off your.
Maybe Star Trek, man, not Star Wars.
I'm gonna turn off your mic here now.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
Is that what Luke said to his dad?
Yeah. All right.
Only a lot of hate.
A lot of hate. All right. With that, we'll be closing out this week's Film Noobs broadcast. Again, make sure to follow KUIW at Facebook, KUIW.org, Twitter, KUIW, Instagram, KUIW Radio. You can follow us, Film Noobs, on Twitter at let me look. I forgot our own link here. At Noobs Film. That's the actual proper link for our Twitter.
Noobs is Noobs.
Yeah, Noobs. Almost like something else, but rhymes with noobs.
Yes.
Anyways.
Tubes.
Tubes.
Yeah,
There you go. With double O. Again, this is your host, David.
Ronald.
And AJ.
We will see you next week, same bat channel, same bat time, 10 to 12 on KUIW Radio, San Antonio. And see you around. Thanks.
Peace.
I don't even know if